screen?
Yeah, sure. Okay. I hope it will go fine because I've had some trouble with the internet connection during the previous talks. So I will now present my screen. Okay. Okay. Do you see anything?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
Yes, winning. We were winning.
I can see it now. Yes, it's on screen.
Okay, cool. I think that there might be some lags during the connection. So I'll be speaking slowly, sort of maybe to compensate for the lags.
They may help for the low bandwidth if you speak slowly. You will need fewer bits, perhaps.
Yeah.
Never mind. It's like a joke. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so I will begin with a request to the host because there is no audience for me to see, and so I would feel slightly uncanny. So if during the talk some questions appear, if you could just interrupt me and read those questions, and also if you react to my talk, you can just be a proxy for the audience. So.
Okay, so you would like your talk, your questions
so we'll do
to
these
be interactive.
or these.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So the audience can give plenty of emojis, and also if you want to ask questions interactively, we'll ask the questions as they come up.
Okay.
And, we'll show our faces in our reactions.
Okay. And if you see anyone from the audience sees that I'm trying to make a joke, you can just use this reaction, lol reaction, or something like this. I'll appreciate it. Okay, so I'm going to present Android app that I've been working on. It is called GRASP, which stands for Graphical Scheme Programming, but currently it is just an S-expression editor. I'll start it up, and it just shows you a blank screen with a small small inscription at the bottom. So that might not be very helpful. And if you start touching the screen, it will be showing some lines. So you might think that it is a drawing up. However, if you touch the screen, the drawing will disappear. Actually, this white piece of sheet is a canvas, and you can open some. I've prepared some existing document to show you. So this is how it renders the scheme code. It renders it in boxes. You can move around the document using the pinch zoom, and you can also double tap and start dragging. Sorry, the double tapping didn't work out for me. If you want to scroll the screen without zooming, it might be slightly irritating for you that there is this rotation feature enabled, but it might be gone in some future version. But for now, if you double tap on the screen, sorry, it should reset to the original position. And also, if it is in the unrotated and you double tap on it, it should present the whole document. It should zoom itself to the whole document. If you double tap on some top level expression, it will zoom to this expression. So this is more or less how navigation was intended to work. The operations on the editor are focused around gestures. And so one of the basic gestures is drawing a line across the screen. It can be either horizontal or vertical. And this allows you to split the screen as, for example, Emacs does, or Vim, or other editors. You can switch between documents, between open documents, using this context menu. You have to hold your finger on an empty area of the document for this menu to appear. So you can switch to the scratch buffer, and so this is how it goes. You can also save documents. So I did my best to make it operational. So you can I don't know, you just call it ICFP.scm. So I can load files, I can save files. It doesn't support the full syntax of scheme yet. It currently only supports atoms and proper lists. The support for strings, improper lists, and comments is underway, but I just didn't make it to the demo, unfortunately. Okay, so if you want to discard a split, you fling it away, which I think is quite neat. And regarding the editing operations, if you touch on an atom and start dragging it, you get a drag and drop feature. And if you double click on it, you get a copy. Double click and start dragging. And the left parentheses behaves in pretty much the same way. Sorry, I just have to, maybe I'll zoom it in a little bit. Okay, so I get a copy of the whole expression, but the right parentheses can be used for resizing the expression. And this, it doesn't work well during the demo, but outside the demo it feels pretty natural. And there's also an additional feature which I call pulling the rug. If you take the closing parentheses, sorry, and fling it away, it will splice the contents of the box to its parent, which is useful if you use boxes, for example, for I'm sorry, I get these messages. Okay, so what was I on to? Yeah, so this is how it works for editing expressions. But if you want to create a new expression, then you have two choices. You can either create a box, which you achieve by drawing a box. Yeah, and the new box disappears. You can You can draw a box inside of a box. It doesn't always work because the recognition algorithm needs more love, and you can also draw a box around another box. It doesn't work, or it will work. And if you want to create an atom, you draw this squared U or underscore gesture. And if you start doing this, a text editor appears, and you can give a name to the atom. And also, if you already have an existing atom and you touch on it, you can invoke this menu by clicking on the atom, and you can rename the atom. And if you delete the whole content, sorry, it's just my screen doesn't always work. My on-screen keyboard doesn't always work. But if you delete the whole of it, the atom disappears, so you don't get empty atoms. So I think that something broke with my orientation. Oh, and by the way, if you switch to the from portrait mode to landscape mode, you can be worried that everything disappears. But actually, I maintain two separate workspaces for two modes of operation. So landscape mode and portrait mode have different workspaces, and they are stored during the operation of the program. So, are there any questions so far?
I have a question for you. So which version of Scheme are you using on the back end? I'm not sure I caught that.
Okay. So this is meant to be an editor for Scheme, but it's actually written in Java, and this is essentially because that was the only workflow I could find for building Android apps. It is written on Android itself using the Termux terminal emulator application. So I'm not using Android Studio. I wrote the whole thing on my phone. I actually have a plan to port it from Java to Kava Scheme for the compilation, because but I'm not sure if it's going to work out.
Okay, so for your editor, which is basically a structured editor, right? This is a structured editor. And for back-end evaluation of what you're editing, is that also going to be in Kava Scheme, or could that be in any scheme? Could you talk to a scheme over the network or things like that, and talk to Shay or Racket or something like that?
At this moment, I don't know yet, because I haven't implemented the interpreter for it yet.
Okay.
I have a plan to do this. So unfortunately, you cannot yet evaluate the expressions. But my plan for evaluation gesture is to type. Is to use this. Use this gesture to evaluate the expression. Just to let you know. So currently, it's just you can look at this thing as just a structured editor for S expressions currently, but my long-term goal is to make it run a scheme underneath, which I didn't just have time to do that yet. But yeah, but this is certainly my plan. So I'm thinking about it as an Emacs for that is adapted to touch interfaces. So instead of using weird keystrokes, you'd be drawing really weird symbols to invoke some functionalities. So this is the plan. But I'm just, at this moment, I'm just showing you the capabilities for editing, and actually this is only thing that I currently have. Okay, any other questions?
Are there any questions from the audience? So is this running on Android?
Yeah, it's running on Android. It's written in Java using, I found the build APK. Sorry, I think that my session with the screen sharing expired. So for now I will stop presenting, and I will be presenting later the second part.
Okay, we have a question from Greg. Do you have complete layout freedom when writing expressions, or is layout automatic?
Oh, this is a very good question. So I will just try presenting my screen once again now. Okay. Okay, so with regard to layout, this is the expressions are ordered in a way that I call textual ordering on boxes. So essentially, if you have a box and you want to put it beside another box, you can do that. But this area here, you won't be able right now to put any expression in it. So if you try doing this, it will be moved to the right or to the left depending on where you drop it. So it's like you can have many expressions beside each other, but you can, if you want to draw them, put them below. They need to be below the tallest of the boxes. Yeah, so that this is isomorphic to textual representation. So I can put it right. Oh, sorry. I can put it somewhere right here, but I wouldn't be able to put it. For example, sorry. I wouldn't be able to put it here. Yeah, does this answer the question?
Let's see. Yes, that's a thumbs up. That answers the question. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Cool, thanks.
Do we have any other questions?
I also wanted to.
Oh, you want to show something else? Okay. You have time if you want to show anything else. You said you wanted to do something else?
Yeah, I wanted to show you, to tell you about two things. One is a little bit about the internals, or how the thing is represented internally, and the other is about the big idea that I'm trying to implement. So regarding, I can show you how the whole thing is built. The repository itself is it contains a directory named stages, and it's like, because this is a work in progress, and I have a schedule, and I have split my work into stages, and once I finish a stage, I make a copy of the whole repository, or the latest stage. So if you want to check out the latest functionalities, you have to go to the latest stage directory, and then there's this build sh script that you can invoke if you're using Termux Android application. Unfortunately, it doesn't work on my phone. I tested it on other devices. I have a separate script which works on my phone. I had some issues with signing the APKs, but the thing is that I build the application, and then I install it from my phone. So I will just run it from edit it from Emacs. Blocks. It takes a while to run it. Just maybe to show you, it's not a very large screen. I don't know if you're seeing it on the camera, but it's the buttons are very tiny. So I will make an edit which will help me to show you some of the internals. Okay. Control K, Control K. I'm sorry. So it takes a short while to build this. But what I wanted to show you is the internal representation of the expression. So the expression can either be, I call expressions bits because that's shorter, and it can either be atom or a box. And an atom consists of a space and of a text. So text is the actual content of the atom, and following space is the rest of expressions that belong to the same line, so to speak. And a box consists of a space just like atom, but it also consists of interlines, which is actually a space before the first line. And so I have two linked lists here. And maybe there are these weird entities called interlines and spaces, and they are just used for expressing the space between elements. So, and the line is also, these are interlaced lists of bits and spaces, so to speak. So if I now install the new version of the app, it also takes a little while. But once I do it, you should be able to see the structure, to see the spaces and interlines that appear in the code. Instead of white space, you'll be seeing gray boxes. Okay, so I'll open the document. Yeah, and now you can see, for example, here is an interline, here is a space. Yeah, so you can imagine how it's internally organized. Okay, and so this is, you have seen how the workflow of the application works. I'm not using PC at all for building this. I plan to port it to Kava, as I mentioned earlier, because I would like to be able to develop this editor in itself instead of Emacs. even though I like Emacs, I don't really like these small buttons that need to be pushed. But this is what I'm showing you here, or what I've shown you so far, is just an S-expression editor, and it's just a very small part of a much greater vision. And the greater vision is, of course, to support the full syntax of Scheme, to include keyboard navigation, because using touchscreen is pretty ineffective. I want users to be able to define their own gestures. Like I have now these boxes and underscores and horizontal lines across the screen. I want to be able to give users the ability to define their own. Another important thing is I would like to track the history, so that it would be expressed as a sort of operations on S expressions, so that it would be recorded. And unlike most editors have Control Z, this undo feature, some editors like Adobe Photoshop, they list the recent operations, and I would like to have the history represented as a tree of operations that the user did, so that you could, for example, take some subtree of this tree and convert it into a macro and things like this. So another feature is Lisp interaction, and also I have a demo from 2 years ago. I wrote it in Racket. I would like to have a feature that Leif Andersen called interactive syntax. Leif recorded a video that explains this concept. I had a very similar idea. I think Leif explained it better. But the idea there was that I have a special form. The special form is called define interaction, and so it takes a symbol and presumably some pattern, and if it recognizes that symbol or a list beginning with that symbol in the code, it doesn't render it as a regular box, but it would render it as a sort of a magical box. So I will show you how it works. I mean, how it worked in the demo that I did 2 years ago. Once it runs.
Okay, we're almost out of time.
Okay. So I'll just show you this, that I have this digraph, which is a neighbor list, and if you right click on it here, it turns into a graph, into a proper graph. And I would like to have this ability in the editor to define this sort of interactions. Yeah, so I mean that pretty much shows my vision, I think.
All right, thank you very much. And we have one last question here from Olin. In the very old days, the late 70s, people work on structure editors that let you edit S expressions in terms of the S expression, not as text. For example, InnerLisp at Xerox PARC had one. And so it, this is a structured editor, is my understanding. Is that correct? Is it a?
Yeah. This is a structured editor.
So this.
Yeah, and actually, the question is very spot on, because I would like this editor to be the main interface for my phone, and like just if you're using Bash or I don't know, any command line shell, you typically, I mean, at least users typically tend to define their own aliases or create their own commands, and here the counterpart would be drawing their own gestures.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Let's thank our speaker.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
We're now going to have a break. We will resume, and since people may be coming in from multiple time zones, I won't say what time we're reconnecting. I will instead say we are resuming in 30 minutes.
That's right. And if you if you leave the session, you can go to the live